The PlayStation Store's Big in Japan sale is ending tomorrow. It's actually going to be running the entirety of tomorrow, and then at 3 a.m. on October 8th, it will be ending. We haven't covered it much, so we're going to try to put out a video right now. You're watching it, games under $10, and then hopefully tomorrow we'll get around to uploading a video, taking a look at some of the other great deals. But this is a really good sale if you're into Japanese games. Obviously, it's the Big in Japan sale, so Western fans probably are not going to find stuff that they're super into, at least, you know, those of you that only really play Western games and you're not into JRPGs and whatever the case may be. But if you're into JRPGs and Japanese games in general, some really good stuff. I would say the Western game, a game that Western fans can enjoy is Resident Evil, and we'll start off with that. Resident Evil 5 is 60% off at $8. I mentioned Resident Evil 5 over Resident Evil 4, even though I think RE4 is just a fantastic game, because rumors have it is getting a full-on remake in 2022, so at this point, probably better off just waiting for that. Resident Evil 5 is solid. I would highly recommend, if you are picking it up, get a friend to pick it up as well, because the AI is pretty bad, and the game was designed to be played in cooperative play, and if you play it co-op, it's a really, really enjoyable game. Not like it's super lengthy or anything like that, but a game that you could sit down with a buddy and have a great time playing it, so $8 for it, I think, is a solid pickup. Maybe at some point they'll even remake Resident Evil 5, but if the Resident Evil pattern sticks, it wouldn't be until 2024, because in 2021 we have Resident Evil 8, 2022 rumor is Resident Evil 4, 2023 would probably be Resident Evil 9, and then you would think a Resident Evil 5 remake in 2024, but that is so far away. That is me speculating to a grand degree, so let's not even talk about that. Pick it up for $8. Next up, we've got Tales of Berseria, and it is 50% off for $9.99. Guys, you know I love me some Tales of games, and Berseria is a really good one. Really, all the Tales of games are pretty similar to one another from a gameplay standpoint and presentation standpoint, although that is being completely thrown out the door with Tales of Arise, the next game that's coming up. It's really shifting the franchise quite a bit. Berseria sticks to the traditional formula that was implemented in other games, and I thought Berseria was awesome. It's not my absolute favorite, but if you want to make that argument, go for it. It's a great game, and the characters are really good. Look, the thing with Tales of, with the games that are out now, what's going to set them apart is the characters and the storytelling and their interactions with one another, and Berseria had a very, very compelling main character. Not your typical, you know, zero to hero type storyline. She's a more darker character in that mentally and psychologically, she goes through some stuff in the early portion of the game that I will not spoil, but pick it up. You'll probably get hooked on the game within the first hour or so. Next up, Yakuza 0 is 60% off for $8. It's Yakuza, you know you're going to have a good time with it. I've been recommending Yakuza for years now. Yakuza 0 is a great starting point if you did miss out on when it was available as a PlayStation Plus title late last year, I believe. $8 for it, I think, is a pretty solid pickup. These games are super lengthy, so if you want to go through all of them, pack a lunch, brother, because you got to play Yakuza 0, Yakuza 1, Yakuza 2, Yakuza 3, Yakuza 4, Yakuza 5, and then Yakuza 6, and ideally, you'd like to play Judgment as well. Yakuza 0, like I said, great starting point, great music in these games, boss battles are great, just a great time. And also, if you're into more meme Japanese stuff, Yakuza 0's got hella memes in there too, so you'll have a good time with that, and there's a healthy bit of humor on top of a pretty serious story. Next up, how about this? This is low-key an awesome deal. I mean, not even low-key. Dragon's Crown Pro, 65% off for $7. That is awesome. This game was, of course, done by Vanillaware, which just recently released 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, and that game is pretty good. If you want to have more Vanillaware fun, you can check that game out. But Dragon's Crown Pro for $7 is a fantastic deal. It's that Vanillaware typical 2D action game that you know and love if you played Muramasa the Demon Blade, if you played Odin's Sphere or Left Tracer. Dragon's Crown Pro has that great art style, combat is good, and for $7, I think it's a no-brainer. Definitely check that out. Next up, here's one that goes a little bit under the radar, The Last Remnant Remastered. I totally forgot that this even came out. I played it way back when it came out. It was released at $20, and I even played this on the Xbox 360 when it came out back in 2008. The Xbox 360 version technically was kind of a mess, and that's why a lot of people had problems with The Last Remnant, but fundamentally, as a game, if you assess it from a gameplay standpoint, it's pretty good. Combat is very interesting and unique, but bear in mind that the game is relatively challenging, so just be open to that when you go into it. I think you're going to end up enjoying the game quite a bit. Thank God it did get this remastered, because it wasn't even released on PlayStation platforms over here in the West. I think in Japan it might have gotten a PS3 release, but whatever, you can now play it for $10, and I think that's a pretty good buy, especially if you're into more interesting Japanese RPGs. Next up, Valkyria Chronicles Remastered, 60% off for $8. Guys, I love Valkyria Chronicles. Valkyria Chronicles 4 in 2018 was on probably one of my top 5 games of that year. I thought it was a phenomenal game, and Valkyria Chronicles 1 has a lot of the same formula. The only very, very major difference is the fact that Valkyria Chronicles Remastered does not have an easy mode. You're either playing this game in the standard difficulty or you're not playing it at all, and let me warn you that the game does have some challenging moments. There's one mission, I want to say it's like chapter 6 or 7, and a lot of people end up quitting the game because it's pretty hard. You got guides online, you can figure it out. It's a more tactical JRPG, and it's a very rewarding one at that. Great story here as well. The story of the Valkyria Chronicles games is always a standout, and the characters are incredibly likable. Pack a lunch for this one too, because it's a pretty lengthy game. And then there is a Valkyria Chronicles 1 and Valkyria Chronicles 4 bundle. I believe it's $17 or $20, somewhere around there. If you want to get both games, would strongly recommend that. And Sega, no, you're not watching this video, but somebody get the word out. We need a Valkyria Chronicles 3 localization, and we need that game remastered for all platforms, to be honest. Valkyria Chronicles 3, in my opinion, had the most compelling story out of all of the Valkyria Chronicles games. There's a fan translation online, and I ended up playing that through an emulator, and that game was just phenomenal. The fact that that game is not available stateside is an absolute sin, and that needs to be remedied as soon as possible. But for now, you can check out VC1 for $8. I think it's a solid pickup. Next up, we have Strider, 80% off for $3. I believe this was a PlayStation Plus game way back when, but this came out all the way back in February 2014. I dug Strider back in the day, and this remake is pretty good. Visually, it's compelling, action gameplay is solid, and for $3, yes, $3, it's good. If you're not sold on that, there's a free demo, so you can try that out, but $3 for Strider is a steal, and if you're into, you know, platforming action titles, you'll enjoy Strider quite a bit. Typically $15, but 80% off brings it down to just $2.99. Next up, we have Gravity Rush 2, which is an amazing deal, 63% off for $7.39. Guys, Gravity Rush is so awesome. I played it back when it came out, June of 2012, I want to say, when it came out on the PlayStation Vita. Gravity Rush 2 makes the game even better, and it is just an awesome game. The fact that Studio Japan were not really credited for their hard work with strong sales numbers is so disappointing, because Gravity Rush 2, you have a great main character with a very, very cool world and a cool look to it. It looks so unique, and I'm so upset that we're not going to see more Gravity Rush. At least I assume not, just because of the sales numbers. But guys, this game is so good, and this is going to be one of those games I'm going to be championing for years, telling people to pick it up, because it is such a great game, and for $7.39, easy recommendation. Gravity Rush 1 Remastered is also on sale. That's like $9 and change, so you can check that out as well. But Gravity Rush 2, without a doubt, the better game. Next up, we have Tekken 7, which is 80% off for $9.99. I often talk about how compelling the lineup of fighting games this generation has been. I mean, you look at the roster, you're talking BlazBlue, you're talking Dragon Ball FighterZ, you're talking Injustice 2, Street Fighter, Soul Calibur 6, some elite level fighting games, and Tekken 7 is a really good one as well. This was one that I got a lot more into it than I thought I would. Like, I was a Tekken 5 fiend when that came out way back when, but Tekken, you know, it's a more fast-paced fighting game where the matches don't last that long, but it is a ton of fun. I had a couple of friends over, and we just have a killer time, and if you guys know me, you know that I'm not super into fighting games. Like, I'm not trying to get super technical and things like that. I mean, I had that phase back in 2009 when BlazBlue Calamity Trigger first released, but that time is behind me. I am not trying to get, you know, super nuanced and go online and try to get really good. I'm trying to have a fighting game that's fun to play with a couple of friends over, and Tekken 7 absolutely offers you that. And all the other content is pretty solid as well. For $9.99, I'd say this is a buy. And lastly, Castlevania Requiem, Symphony of the Night, and Rondo of Blood, $8 for this. If you are an old school Castlevania fan, look no further. You're talking about two amazing Castlevania games, Symphony of the Night in particular. A lot of people consider that one of the best, you know, Metroidvania style games that has ever been released. And yeah, it still holds up pretty well. Obviously, visuals might be a little bit off-putting to some people if you're not a fan of these old school games, but if you are, $8 for it is really good. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, we got a ton of great deals available right now. And remember, this sale is going to end October 8th at 3 a.m., so you want to make all your purchases October 7th, so bear that in mind. But that's going to wrap up this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.